Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with trainer Shane McGuigan. Shane, I was watching you intently during the fight in between rounds. We expected to see an attritional affair between Chris, but was there ever that pit in the stomach feeling in those rounds?
Oh, definitely. But he does that to me every bloody fight. Do you know what I mean? It's just the way he boxes. He does that to me in some bloody spars as well. So that's just the way he is, you know. But as I said in a previous interview, like he gets these guys exhausted, you know, and sometimes he has to put himself in the firing line to get that desired effect. And he works well when he can slow his opponent down and he can take away their good quality work. And Masternak was really good after the second, third. He started picking up a rounds. I think I had him 2 rounds ahead going into that round that he obviously stopped in the corner. But I genuinely believe the writing was going to be on the wall. He was starting to get his flow going. The last 2 rounds before it, he really started to switch on and work behind his jab and not load up and put his combinations together. And even in those early rounds, Masternak was coming back super shattered. Chris was just trying too hard. But once he started working off that jab, it all fell into place.
So I was watching you intently. I saw you say throw to the pelvis area, like identifying that area as a weakness. What were you seeing, and did you see the rib being the injured part?
Well, I saw that there was scar tissue on the rib. Like when we were there, I noticed it in the weigh-in. Whenever I saw him, and he's they're all dried out, aren't they? So their bodies are features are more prominent. And then when he was in there, I saw I have scar tissue on my rib because when I was boxing, I've got scar tissue, and I've had fighters that have had scar tissue on their ribs, and they never heal. Once scar tissue is formed, you've got an internal organ in the lungs. Like that body will build everything in its power to make sure that lung stays safe, but it weakens it. So I said, we've got to start targeting that in that left rib of his, which is the front side right hook. And I've got pictures because someone sent it, a friend of mine sent it, of where the rib, you can see the rib is dislodged, and when he went to hold it, dropped down. So he clearly broke his rib. Just frustrated that, I'm not saying it's frustrated that he went the way because he got the victory, but I wanted him to then, turn the screw and actually put his shots together, because I genuinely believe he would have been the first guy to drop him and stop him, in his career. I know he got stopped about 11 years ago, but I genuinely believe he would have ground him down and actually stopped him.
What's your view on the feeling from many that Chris was down in the fight?
I had him down. I had him 2 rounds down, but we knew it was always going to be a second half of his fight. He boxed the guy, boxed the Kiwi, I think he was, in his last fight, and he was exhausted. He still held his form, but this guy's not Chris Billam-Smith. He's not. He was putting the pressure on, but he had nothing behind it. And I think Chris is a lot more physical than that. He punches harder. So I knew that this was going to be a fight at 2 halves. I knew the first 6 it was going to be a 50-50, potentially even Masternak was going to go ahead. There was moments I was a bit more panicked because Chris looked a bit too tired and looked a bit sluggish, and his accuracy was going. But once he switched himself, I gave him an absolute bollocking in the corner, I think after about the 6th. And he switched himself on and turned the fight.
What did you say to him?
I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" I said, "You're loading up. You're trying to hit him with one shot. You can't hit a guy that's just..." I called him a wily old fox in the presser. It's generally what he is. He's really good at taking your shots away, especially if you throw singles. You got to work behind a double jab, and you got to let your flourish go. You can't smother your work. And he was doing that. He was trying to time his jab, trying to throw big right hooks over the top or big right hands to the body, and falling in and looking clumsy. So, the more he jabbed, the more he moved his head and was active in between the shots and not just staying static. That's how he needs to box.
Boxing is a weird world. Does that make his opponents maybe more keener to fight him, considering they might see the success that they might have against him when fights might be tough to make, i.e. Riakpo, Okoli, Optai and such forward?
There's always going to be people excited to box Chris because they see gaps. But the difference is just like Lawrence, like the fight before Lawrence, Chris didn't look his best. He took his eye off the ball and was far too comfortable in the fight. Got caught clipped with a silly shot at the top, and had to really had to not dig deep, but had to really switch himself on and just like he did there. Masternak's better than that guy, and it just took a little bit longer, but he finds a way, and I just want to make sure that he has more respect for people, because he has to have respect and has to sharpen himself on. Like, he had so much respect for Lawrence. He was so like, okay, I've really got, I can't give him that, I can't give him this. And that's when you saw the best of him. I think, like, we were watching Masternak last night, and he was going, he takes me and push back. And I was like, you can't just walk him down, because about 15 stone when he's rehydrated with 10-ounce gloves on and horsehair, like, he's going to be, creating damage on you. But it's a little bit stubborn at times, and I think when he's up against genuine challenges like Riakporhe, like Lawrence, and like Opateo, or any of the Gulamari, and if he sorts himself out, like, he has to switch on.
On a couple, I know you had your hands full. Did you watch Haney Prograis yesterday?
I saw, I did. I watched the first. I woke up in the middle of the night, watched the first 5 rounds or 6 rounds, and I've turned it off. I knew it was going one way. And then I saw the highlights afterwards. It was surprising to stop him, actually, because he should have put a foot down. And I genuinely believe, like, that's the problem with Devin Haney. Tank Davies, if it had hit him with that shot in the 3rd and then wobbled him in like he did in the 6th, he'd have had him out. And that's what's box office. It's not box office getting behind your jab and coasting. And yes, it was a masterclass. Looked great, but should have stopped that guy. And Prograis, no offense to him, but he's not the same fighter he was when he boxed Josh Taylor those years ago. He's 34. He's been at that weight a long time. He got dropped to his last fight. Didn't get called a knockdown, and the writing was on the wall. That's what Haney does. He gets people just at the right time. Got Linares way over the hill. Got Lomachenko over the hill, and he's just got Prograis as well. So clever matchmaking, and I think he's getting better. And I think 140 is genuinely going to suit him, but he needs to be more exciting. He has that guy hurt. He should have stopped him, and that's what creates stars. You can't play the Floyd Mayweather game until you get up to genuine challenges. He can start being more defensive when he knows he gets up to like 147, 154. Floyd Mayweather at 140, even he was super featherweight, he moved up. He was still making statements, knocking out Gatti and people at Taylor ended their career. So thought he was good, but genuinely believe he could just be. He's got it all. He just needs to have that little bit more killer instinct.
I respect that as the last one. Shane, congratulations on the victory. Thanks for taking us out.